Welcome to Deep Thought. Teach others how to deal with the darkness. And it's interesting because at first the title of this was going to be How to Avoid the Darkness. But you know what? And especially after I said in the last two episodes, you don't avoid it. I mean, what you can do is develop yourself so you can deal with it when it comes. There's always a period. There's always a period that you're going to go through down times. Now, the only way let me take that back. There is a way to avoid it, but that's advanced spiritual stuff that I don't discuss publicly because things could be twisted and then used for the dark side. And it's an evolution thing. I'll just say esoteric traditions know what to do. But that's another conversation why the majority of the planet don't practice those traditions. And just to be clear, those traditions are within all the major religions. So, anyway, once you go through those dark like you might have started there, you might have been dark side at some point in your life. You might have been a danger to people, intentionally hurting people. Or what many people do, most people, they go through those dark periods. They go through those dark times. Everything's negative. All of it's a dark thing. And like I said, it's easy to say, well, it's all part of life, but people ain't going to see it that way. But they still have to deal with it. They still have to deal with the negative energy. Once you have either been on the dark side or gone through those dark times, and you have survived, your purpose is to teach other people how to deal with it. And it could be on many levels. It might be helping a person deal with a breakup. Their mate cheating on them, their mate leaving them. It might be helping a person deal with abuse, emotional, sexual, physical abuse. It could be helping a person get out of a dangerous life, where it's involving criminal activity or just doing something to hurt people. I mean, once you have gone through it, help others. You will put through that. Like some spirits, when they're born, they here for that mission. That's why they had to go through some stuff. But they the toughest. Like I said, I've known several people who've been abused. But when I look at their spirit now and everything that they're doing, I see greatness. I see that instead of letting, I'll say negative energy consume them, they still shine in the light. They are diamonds that you've thrown a diamond into some glass. You've thrown a diamond into some trash. That diamond isn't affected. That diamond is still there. Teach others how to get through it. Teach others how to get through a period where they might lose their job. As I'm talking, and you know how I flow in here, I just flow with it. I'm thinking about this guy, and I mentioned him before. This was a dude who came off as blatantly racist. He would be a white guy. Sometimes I would see him on the bus, and me and him almost came to blows a couple times. And, I mean, he was just obnoxious. He was just mean. But then I remember on that same bus line, there would be a black driver on there who that same dude would never give any hell to. Like the driver just point to him and say, no, you can't get on the bus. And the dude wouldn't argue with him or anything. But then I said, wait a minute, this dude not only tried to be ready to fight me, but everybody else on here messing with the women, he ain't messing with you. And he said, what the driver said was, I knew this guy before he got like this. And he was a good guy. But then he lost a job, he lost some other things, and he got in and started drinking. This is what's happened. So even though he didn't tolerate any bull from him, he understood. But what if that person had gone through that, but instead of going through that negative stuff, learn from it, then he could come up. And you know what? I don't know what happened to him. Maybe that happened or something else happened. But, if you're a person, you've gone through those dark periods. And it could have been through anything. Remember what I said at the beginning? I used the example of that fictional character. Maybe Spirit knew that you were strong. Maybe whatever form of God you worship, knew that you were strong, but you had to go through it. You had to go through it. You had to take it. And it's tough because when you're going through it, you are not thinking that way. There's a lot of stuff I've gone through I don't ever discuss with people. But I look back at it and say, I survived that. So I know what it's like. I know what it's like. But you can teach others how to deal with it. You can teach others how to get it. You might even be in a position to help them overcome it. Yeah, I've met a lot of counselors, like drug counselors, abuse counselors. I've met a lot of ministers. Now, I know I always sometimes joke about like ministers being equated with pimps and stuff, which of course annoys the pimps. But I've met some sincere ministers who they don't have a large church or temple or mosque or anything like that. In fact, their ministry might be in the street. Their ministry might be talking with people. I've known some guys, some men and women, I would call them street ministers. And they're not following a particular tradition at all. They just go out and they interact with people. And I say, and I've told a few of them, I say, this is your ministry right here. But they teaching others how to avoid that darkness. Well, not avoid, I'm sorry. You can't avoid it. How to deal with it. Well, indeed. I'll take that back. Sometimes there's some things that can be avoided. Even if it's coming, maybe you see it coming, you see the negative stuff coming, and you learn from somebody who's already been through it how to sidestep it. I think about this woman I wanted to date. Very attracted to her and stuff, but I ain't have my own spot. She ain't have her own spot. But she would never let me come over to her spot. And she said, and the reason was she had a daughter. She said she don't bring no men. Well, she said the word men's into her house. And I respected her, I understood. And I also looked at her and I said, I think she might have went through something because there's a situation in which, well, don't get me started on, boyfriends and stepfathers abusing someone's children. Don't get me started. But she knew how to avoid a situation right there. And that's how it has to be. You've gone through it. Make sure somebody else don't go through it. Do what you can. And, if you can teach them how to avoid it, that's great. If you have to help them through it, that's great. Sometimes you might have to reach out and rescue them from that situation. You might have to. There's no shame in that. But if you've gone through it and you survived it, you have a superpower. You have a mission. You were probably put in that position to learn how to get through it to help. Regardless of your faith, when this is part of mine, everybody I see has a destiny. I've heard people say this from an AME minister, my great-grandfather, to an African traditional priest. So when you go through something, it's not an accident. The divine doesn't make accidents. You there for a reason. You learn the lesson. Then you come out and teach it. It's to make you strong. You're like the sword that was forged in fire. You went through the fire. You survived it. Now you're stronger than ever. So teach others. Teach others how to deal with the darkness. Tell them how to avoid it. Tell them how to fight it if necessary. And it's a negativity. It's a negativity. How to fight it. How to overcome it. How to learn from it themselves. All right? I want y'all to really think about that. And y'all have a great weekend. Peace and many blessings.